What season is so nice it got named twice? Why, that's autumn, of course, or fall for everyone on this side of the world. It's the season for transitions, from summer to winter, from play to study, from lush and green to dormant and colorful. But there's a lot more to fall than just pumpkin patches and leaf peeping. Hello, this is meteorologist Jim Cantore, standing smack dab in the middle of some of the most beautiful fall color in the U.S. This is why I love fall. When you talk about the fall, everyone thinks about the vivid and colorful foliage that much of the country gets to experience. But there's a lot more to this season than just a few leaves changing color, as you'll see over the next half hour. Fall is the season for football, for both professionals and college athletes. We know it's fall around here when we see our very own Mike Seidel shaking things up at some of America's best tailgate parties. And he always seems to find the most interesting folks to interview.
It's like you enjoy eating.
Yeah, I eat a lot, man. A lot of donuts and stuff like that.
Football's not the only sport kicking off in the fall. There's also the sport that the rest of the world calls football: soccer. If you've got school-age kids, you probably associate the fall with back to school. And although many schools get back in session in late summer, fall is still considered back to school season across the country. Fall's also the season probably most connected to nature and getting outdoors. It's the time when those of us who are parents get to prove that being outside can still be fun, even if there's no sandy beaches and water. So those are just some of the events we associate with the fall season. But what's even better than that? Why, food, of course. And who doesn't like to eat? I mean, come on. Can you tell that the biggest food day of the year comes right in the middle of fall? Of course you can. That's Thanksgiving. After all, fall is the season of the harvest. The truth is, most people still equate fall with leaf peeping. And if you want to see some of this season's beauty up close, we've got some recommendations for you. If you're out west, there are several places in Colorado where you can get your own personal dose of fall's eye candy. One location is Idaho Springs. It's about 30 miles west of Denver. The city, founded by prospectors, is celebrating the 150th anniversary of the gold rush this year. And if you're in the Midwest and can get to Minnesota, the Twin Cities offers leaf peeping opportunities, even in Minneapolis. Across the Southeast, Atlanta and its neighbors offer a great chance to see the changing fall colors. And if you can't see the leaves change in person, the next best thing might be pictures. We've got some sites for you where you can view excellent webcam pictures of all these great fall colors. Naturally, your first stop is going to be weather.com. Just follow the fall foliage links. You can see our most recent fall color shots in the Eyewitness Weather section. And you can click on a specific state and see some great pictures of your local color. And there's other sites offering fall photos, like this one, ExploreRockies.com. On a clear day, the Canadian Rockies will show color changing on the aspens in Banff, Alberta. And the U.S. National Park Service offers more than a dozen webcams from across the country, all the way from Alaska to Maine. Like this one from North Cascades National Park in Washington State. Just go to nature.nps.gov and follow the sounds and images links. Hey, if you think you take some pretty good pictures, the folks at weather.com may have some cash for you. It's called Capture the Fall, and it's an online fall photo contest. You can enter at weather.com/photos. You can win up to $2,500, or you could win a 15-megapixel digital camera. You might even see your photo right here on the Weather Channel. And if you register between now and November 30th, you'll pay a discounted entry fee. Winners will be announced in January. Check it out at weather.com/photos. And in North Carolina, the fall seems to make at least one outdoor activity more colorful. Reporter Carrie Casani takes us along on the zipline tour.
It's a high-flying, heart-pumping ride centered above North Carolina's Pisgah National Forest.
It's a little scary at first when you're looking at it, but once you get on, it's really fun because you're soaring through the trees and you get to see all these pretty sights and in the mountains. It's so much fun.
Earthshine Mountain Lodge was one of the first places in North America to offer this cable flight. With a little coaching, Benny Upton and his staff send you off for an in-your-face adventure.
Right, take off, run!
It's beautiful. When these trees start turning red and yellow and you're up here and you're flying through them, it's like a painting. And the leaves shower down on you when you're going across.
It's like it's zipping, like it goes by really fast, like you're there and then you're at the tree.
Right, run!
I like looking at the leaves in the mountains.
Earthshine's course takes about 2 hours to conquer. Anyone ages 10 and up can take the leap. This zipline course is designed with a lot of things in mind. Number one being safety, but also not to be too intimidating. At the highest point, it's about 75 feet above the ground.
The most common comment we get from folks is, I was terrified of heights, but I was really able to do this. And we designed it that way. The whole point was to have a course that was an adventure without being scary. We want to have it where everyone can do it.
Zipline courses are popping up in states across the country, and fall is the best time in North Carolina with low humidity, temperatures in the 60s to low 70s, and spectacular views. These canopy tours are a great way to combine friends, family, and fall foliage. At Lake Toxaway, North Carolina, Carrie Casani, the Weather Channel.
And if you need an even bigger rush than watching the leaves change color, reporter George Oliphant says fall's the perfect time for some whitewater rafting in wild, wonderful West Virginia.
In order to enjoy the thrills of whitewater kayaking in West Virginia, I needed a guide who could show me the best places to go. Brian Jennings was just the man for the job. So what are we going to do today?
We're going to go out and give you guys a little bit of a taste of what it's like to do a whitewater kayak clinic with us here at NAR. A little bit of flat water instruction, get you fit in the boat, a little background history of the sport, and then hopefully have you running a rapid and rolling a kayak by the end of the day. It takes a little while to get comfortable with orientating yourself upside down in the water. After this, we're on the fast track. I made it!
Is kayaking dangerous?
Kayaking, like any outdoor sport, has some inherent risks, but most of those are managed by getting proper instruction, having proper safety equipment, and one of the biggest things we stress here in North America is never go paddling by yourself.
Whether you're looking for an adventure in the rapids or a relaxing stay at the Greenbrier, West Virginia's got you covered. I'm George Oliphant. I'll see you next time.
I'm Julie Martin in Napa Valley, California. Coming up, I'll show you why fall is prime time for wine.
I love fall because a change of colors, the weather is beautiful, and it's the perfect time to do outdoor activities.
I love fall because I play football for the Exeter Junior High football team, and it's my birthday during that season.
Because it's football season. The birds are on and we get to cheer on the field.
I love fall because of the nice cool weather, my 42nd wedding anniversary, and a change of colors.
Fall is harvest time in California's wine country, but getting a great crop is always a gamble with Mother Nature. Reporter Julie Martin takes us to Napa Valley.
Fall is crunch time in this land of Merlot and Petit Verdot, better known as Napa Valley.
But it's also the time that we hand off our precious little baby to the winemakers. It's a very stressful, trying time. It's exciting because of that.
Daniel Bosch knows all too well how weather can make or break a good bottle of wine. The viticulturist is in charge of ensuring thousands of grapes at the Robert Mondavi Winery get just the right amount of Mother Nature they need every day.
The first one that's really important is the amount of rainfall we get. So in years that we have less rainfall here in Napa Valley at Ramondavi, we have better concentration of the fruit.
Bosch says low rainfall in the spring and cool temperatures in the fall are prime for great Napa wine. And early morning fog is a winemaker's friend at harvest.
So what happens with the fog is it cools the vineyard down and it cools the grapes down. It keeps color in the berry and it also keeps acidity, so you have sort of a crisp, more crisp flavors.
Every fall is a bit of a gamble for the winemaker. While they can see the weather's effects on the grapes, they won't know the full impact on taste for another couple of months.
In Napa Valley, I think there's always good years. That's why I'm here. So I don't see any bad years for the Napa Valley weather. I think there's different years.
Words veteran vintners live by. Though the region has a mild climate with warm, dry summers and cool, wet winters, staying ahead of the weather is a full-time job. 9 million cases of wine are shipped from the region each year, which means wine drinkers across the world just have to take a sip to get a taste of fall in Napa. In Napa Valley, California, I'm Julie Martin, the Weather Channel.
During autumn, the leaves change, the weather changes, and the apples ripen. On average, each American eats 19.5 pounds of apples each year. So on a fall day, what better way than to spend it at an orchard?
It's exciting watching the joy in your kids' faces, watching them pick the apple and then eating it.
The Zagarola family of Ellijay, Georgia loves this time of year.
Apples and pumpkins and the changing of the leaves up here in the mountains are just beautiful, especially the apples, going around to all the apple houses.
So do thousands of others that visit the North Georgia mountains each fall to get apples straight from the source.
I think they're better when they're freshly picked and because they're more crunchier than store-bought.
So on this day, they've come to the Red Apple Barn Orchard to get the first pick, so to speak. Marvin Pritchett and his wife have owned the farm since 1971, so he knows exactly what weather makes the best, sweetest apples.
I think if you get a lot of rain, sometimes the flavor is not quite as good. It don't stand out hardly as much as sometimes as it does if the weather's dry.
The ideal is a cool, wet spring and early summer, followed by nice, warm, sunny days. While young trees take about 4 to 5 years to bear their first fruit, once they do, you'll see flowers in spring and plenty of fruit by fall.
The drought year worked out good for us. Apples stand a good bit of drought. We got enough water back early until they made nice apples.
And like these amateur farmers have learned, don't pick the apples too soon because it can affect their sweetness. And you'll have to be careful on how they're handled.
We're not supposed to grasp our fingernails in them because it will bruise them. We're supposed to mostly use our palm.
No matter whether you like them sweet or tart, red, yellow, or green, apple picking is just plain fun and delicious.
Good.
And if you feel the need to work off some of that food, reporter George Oliphant suggests sport fishing.
When you think of a weekend in Maine, images of lobster and summer cottages come to mind. But it is also home to some of America's best sport fishing, and nothing beats the thrill of a day out on the ocean. We met up with John Manta, the owner of Manta Ray Adventures and a sport fishing legend. John, where are we?
Right now we're in Cape Porpoise, just north the coast of Kennebunkport, Maine. We do fishing for novices, experts. A lot of people catch their first fish on my boat, and it's a cod. Sometimes it's a great fish. Sometimes it's always a great fish because it's their first fish.
This here's the gold rod. It's for bringing in the big fish. Even though I didn't catch anything of substance, I still worked up an appetite. There's only one way to satisfy your hunger here in Maine, and that's with a lobster roll. Now that's what I'm talking about. There is nothing finer than an authentic Maine lobster roll. When you come to Maine, do it right. Stay at a classic country inn, eat loads of lobster, and venture out on the sea for some fishing.
Well, I love fall because it's not too warm, it's not too cold, and it's very breezy outside. And I just love how the leaves fall during that time.
I love fall because it's morely like Thanksgiving, and that's like my favorite holiday. And we get to get together with everybody and my family, and that's really fun to do.
I love fall because it's not too hot or too cold, and it's a great time to be outside, and it's really pretty.
And if you're in the market for some fall gear, check out the Weather Channel online store at store.weather.com.
Fall for number one reason, the NFL is in full swing, and the change of seasons. I just absolutely love all the colors of the trees.
I love fall because you can open up all the windows in the house. The air is nice and fresh. You can start decorating for Halloween. It's like, you know, the best time of the year.
Well, we've shown you there's a lot to love about fall. It's also a good idea to have a healthy respect for the weather. Meteorologist Mike Bettis explains.
Hurricanes are usually associated with summer in the U.S., but there have been major hurricanes to strike during the fall, too. Those hurricanes generally threaten areas along the Atlantic coast or the Gulf of Mexico. The two strongest over the last 15 years were Category 3 storms, Opal in 1995 and Wilma 10 years later. Opal devastated parts of the Florida Panhandle, raced across Alabama, weakened to a tropical storm, and then headed through Tennessee. Opal wreaked havoc over the mid-Atlantic states before finally dissipating.
Very hard to see it!
Hurricane Wilma was the 22nd named storm of the historic 2005 season. Wilma had several landfalls before finally dissipating in late October. It remains one of the costliest U.S. storms ever. But well before Opal and Wilma was the only Category 4 storm to make a U.S. landfall in October. That was Hurricane Hazel, which landed near the North and South Carolina border in 1954. Hazel proved so catastrophic to the Caribbean, the U.S., and Canada that the name will never be used again for an Atlantic basin hurricane. But it hasn't been hurricanes capturing the nation's attention so far this year. The fall of 2009 saw metropolitan Atlanta inundated by another weather threat, this one of epic proportions: massive flooding. 10 people lost their lives when floodwaters washed out bridges and roads in several counties surrounding the city of Atlanta. Hundreds of homeowners in the area continue the cleanup efforts today. And while parts of the southeast grappled with rain and floods, parts of the west were already seeing signs of winter. Cities in South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming have had measurable snowfall, including 9 inches in Helena, Montana in early October. Farther west, parts of California faced what's become an all-too-familiar story: deadly wildfires. In early October, more than 7,000 acres burned in the San Bernardino National Forest, forcing mandatory evacuations. And complicating firefighting efforts, winds gusting up to 45 miles an hour. And this fire comes on the heels of a wind-fueled inferno that scorched nearly 200,000 acres northeast of Los Angeles. The blaze, known as the Station Fire, was the largest in LA County history. So it's not just hurricanes that demand attention in the fall. It's a lot easier to love fall when you're prepared for the elements. For the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis.
I love fall because of the pumpkins and decorating for Thanksgiving and Halloween. It's time to get the kids all ready for Halloween and pick out cool costumes.
I love fall because it's the change of seasons. The air seems a little bit fresher, change in temperature, and of course the change in the colors of the trees.
I love fall because it's a change in clothing. I love sweaters. I love the scarves and turtlenecks that come with the season.
I love fall because the smells from cooking, pumpkin pie. I love Halloween, my favourite holiday, so that kind of falls into fall. And I'm not a fan of the sun and hot weather, so colder weather is better for me.
And if you're in the market for some fall gear, check out the Weather Channel online store at store.weather.com.
I love fall because of the changes of the seasons. I love to see God's work in action, and it's neat.
I like to see the changes in the leaves and just the change in the feel of the air, and just feels crisp and cool and nice.
I love fall because the weather starts turning chilly, the leaves change, there's just I don't know, it just is warm and inviting with campfires.
Thanks for watching our Why I Love Fall special. Don't forget to check out our online photo contest at weather.com/photos. And tonight we leave you with some of our editors' favorite sights and sounds of the season. I'm meteorologist Jim Cantore. Your local forecast is next.